All right, everybody, before we get into the pod, I just want to give a quick shout out to Drew Dighton from Realty Connects Brokerage. If you're thinking about buying, selling, looking for a studio, anything to do with real estate, give Drew a text at 519-365-2309. He's a super easy guy to talk to, super down to earth. Um, yeah, you can also hit him up at his email here, drewdighton@gmail.com, and just tell him the podcast sent you. But without further ado, let's get into this video, guys. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the New Generation Sobriety Podcast. Today we're joined by Rock Bottom with Ryan. This is just a part two. Today we're going to go a little bit deeper into Ryan's story. There's a lot of questions that I wanted to ask last time that I didn't necessarily get the chance to ask, just because like an hour goes by really quick when we're talking about this kind of stuff. Hey, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely does. Time flies when you're talking about drug history and addiction.
For sure. Like I almost have to start a timer when I'm about to share at a meeting because like I lose track of time. I'm like, okay, how long have I been talking for? I always say, I feel like I'm rambling, and everybody's like, no, you're good. And I'm like,
Yeah, we have a
dang
3
it,
to
I
5
forgot to
minute
set the timer.
rule at our meetings, and
Yeah.
we
Well,
just let it
typically
go.
our chairperson will say something like, if there's a lot of people there, he'll say like, we have a lot of people here tonight. Just try and keep your shares like to a respectful like amount, like like he'll
Yeah,
say something like that to kind of hint at it. But we have some people that'll just go on and on and on.
yeah, yeah.
And
Some
anyways,
of
there's
you.
just a couple questions. I didn't really get the chance to write much down, but I'm sure I'll think of a ton. My first question would kind of be like, I know I kind of touched on it a little bit back in the last episode, but I know for me, like with alcohol and even when I started gambling, like I couldn't keep my paycheck for very long. Like money was gone so fast, and basically, I've heard from what I've heard is cocaine is a very expensive drug. And how did you kind of like tell us a little bit about that? Like how did that take a toll on your financial situation?
It started off with me. My cocaine use was very gradual. It started off with me, like I had a buddy who would get it, and I would take some bumps out of his. But when it escalated to me buying it, I started to get to know dealers gradually, and it started off where I would take withdraw like $50 out of the at like on Friday night or whatever, and buy like a gram or whatever for $50 or whatever. So it wasn't really affecting me, and that would last me a night. But like once my use started to escalate, I started to buy 8 ball, which was usually running between 150 and 200 for an 8 ball, which is an eighth of an ounce, so 3.5 grams of cocaine. And that
How
would
long would
start
that
to
typically last you?
and that would last me the weekend at that point. It started off where the gram for 50 would last a weekend, and then it turned into like $200 would last me a weekend. And then, so that was 200, so $400 every paycheck. And then once it escalated and started getting worse than that, where I'd start doing it a little during the week, we're talking 2 8 balls a week, so 400 a week, so 4, 8, 12, $1,600 a month sometimes. Once it got to that point, I started having enough friends around me that would, ask me, hey, can I get some too? I just started to buy, like an ounce at a time
And that's when you
for
kind of got to that point that you mentioned last episode where you were just kind of doing coke for
yeah,
free because you
doing
were
coke
the
for free.
supplier.
Yeah. Yeah. I would buy like an ounce for like 900 to 1,000, and then break it into 28 grams or sometimes into 8 balls, and then I'd sell
So
it, but
now,
I
now
would be
obviously
starting out.
without saying names or anything, could you tell us a little bit about like what it was like buying that, like from your supplier? That's obviously to me that's interesting. Was it
Yeah.
scary? Were
Oh,
there
yeah.
sketchy dudes that you were buying from, or like right
Yeah.
off the boat kind of thing?
I mean, it got to the point where there's probably like 8 different people I could probably hit up at a given time, and they're all different kind of quality. And there's one guy who I would go buy from who I didn't know very well at the time. We became friends over time, but like he would give me a full on pat down for wires when I would get to his house, and like have his dog
Yeah,
I don't know, try to feel me up for wires, and I'd be like, man, this is like the real deal, and I'm
just
just
like the rap songs.
yeah, yeah. And then I'd just be like buying, I'd buy that and leave. Or sometimes I had another guy who would we would meet up kind of outside a grocery store, and he would hand me a CD that would have it flattened, down, and it would be like look like I was buying a CD or a DVD from him or something, and that was one way we exchanged. Another way
Yeah,
was
that's
through this Asian gang that I um, would talk to, and they would make it really discreet, and we would park, and then they would send a kid over to throw it in my car, and then I would hand them money. So it was just a bunch of different ways to exchange it at the time, and this was like 10, 15 years ago, but that was kind of how we'd do it. But once it got to me selling it and doing it, that escalated it because I was like, oh, I'm not losing money. I'm not losing money. But then I'd get generous with it. So that's when it started to really make no sense at all.
yeah. Like we talked about in the last episode, like being a people pleaser. And I don't know if that was you, but that was me for sure, dude. And like if
Yeah,
I was a drug dealer, like I'd have been giving out hundreds of dollars in drugs every night because I just wanted to make everybody happy. My happiness relied on what you thought about me, right? Like
exactly. I wanted I wanted
you
everybody to
want to be
stay awake
liked.
with me, and I was like, "Well,
Yeah,
if you guys are broke, just get me back later, get me cash later," and I'd probably forget 90% of the time to ask for it back and be like, "Yeah, here's a gram or here's a big line." Every line,
yeah,
is worth like $20 depending on how big the lines are, so it's just you
yeah. For me, there was like specific moments when I would like realize that like, hey, these people aren't doing what I'm doing for them. Like they aren't doing that for me. Like
Yeah,
I realized that, but then like
yeah,
my alcoholic self would just override and just do it anyway because I wanted them to just keep drinking or keep partying
yeah.
with me, right? But
Yeah, there's
at one point, like I do remember thinking to myself, like, hey, nobody's buying me beers and nobody's spending their money
on
on
your fun.
alcohol for me. Like,
Yeah. No,
but
there was a like a couple of people like I was single at the time, but there was a couple that I hung out with all the time, and they were like, "Oh, we're broke, we're saving up for a house or some shit, so we can't go out." And I'd be like, "No, I'll take you guys out. I'll buy all your drinks. I'll have a bag of blow, and I would take them out to party and stuff." And then when it came down to it, and I didn't have money, and I was like, "Oh," they invited me out, and I'm like, "I can't go," and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, have a good night." And I was like, "Well, thanks for getting me back," like fuck.
yeah,
And then they even like, I don't know. It's just I felt kind of used, by some people, and it's
yeah,
like maybe I just wanted to party harder, I guess. But some people
for
take
sure.
advantage of it.
Well, another thing I was kind of curious about would be like with Coke, like obviously people take it to stay awake, right? Like a lot of times I hear in like rooms of air that like they go hand in hand, like alcohol and cocaine. Like most people, or some people, sorry, I should say, come in and they say like, I didn't think I had a drinking problem, but then like I thought my problem was cocaine, but then they found out that the second they have a sip of beer, they're texting their dealer, and like that's what leads them to cocaine every time. Like they can't have one beer without having cocaine. So like
Exactly.
basically what I'm wondering is like for me, I always I there's like countless times I remember waking up, like I said, behind someone's hot tub, like at 4 a.m., like in the rain, had no idea how I got there. And like with cocaine, do you have blackout moments like that? Or are there times where you just wake up or you come to and you realize, or is it something that keeps you there at all times, you know?
Yeah, there was a period where I was mixing Xanax. I would take Xanax, then I would drink, so I'd be kind of blacking out, and then I would use cocaine to bring me back to present. Like I would use the cocaine to give me that jolt to like be present, but then the next day I still wouldn't remember half the shit I said or did because I had mixed a downer with another downer with a depressant mixed with an upper and cocaine. So like I was there active having conversations, but I didn't remember any of them. And the next day I would wake up and be like, what do I have to apologize for? And my roommate at the time would be like, oh, you were all over the place. You were putting your arms around girls that had their boyfriends right next to them and stuff. I was
Yeah,
like, fuck, I was being a weirdo. Great.
yeah. So obviously the alcohol mixed in with the coke, like the alcohol, the blackout was still there, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's still there. You're just still have energy and you still feel like
Yeah.
you're there, but you're not there.
Well, in a way, dude, like I feel like I was kind of doing somewhat the same thing because like I was prescribed Adderall for ADHD and like I would take that in the mornings and then like when I got to like the really bad point of my addiction, I'd be drinking by noon anyway. So
Mm,
it's like that Adderall mixed in with the drinking was probably not a good combination, right? Like I
no,
remember, I'm pretty sure on the bottle it says not to drink alcohol on it. Like
I
you're
was
not supposed to
prescribed
drink
Adderall
alcohol
too,
with it.
and I will
Like
admit, yeah, I don't think
And
I've
I
ever.
always did realize like it did give like I was different than other people. Like I was always like once I had a beer or two, like people were like I forget my one buddy said to me the one day, he's like, dude, when you get a beer or two in you, it's almost it all looks like you just did a line. Like you're
Yeah, just hyper as
like
fuck, talking about
yeah,
everything. Yeah,
yeah, for sure, man.
there are
I don't know if
people like
that's the Adderall and the alcohol mixing together, and I'm not sure.
it is.
But I just kind of put that two and two together recently that, hey, I've been on Adderall since I was 9 years old, like every day of my life. And like I drank quite often. That's probably not a good combination.
No, like I even when I saw my psychiatrist a few years ago, and I was prescribed Adderall, she would piss test me every time I came in, and I would ask her like, "Why do you have to piss test me?" You know, I'm not obligated to. She's like, "Because there's such a bad over time chemical imbalance that gets caused in your brain if you're drinking on Adderall on a regular basis, and it really does
Yeah.
permanently affect you." She said, and I still did it anyways, and I know people that do it all the time. So I don't
Hmm.
know how it affected us or you or me, but it
Yeah.
definitely has an effect.
I do remember times when like I would. There's like just a select few times where I had taken it at a party or something because I had got no sleep the night before or forgot to take it or something, and I had taken it like and washed it down with a beer, and like I do remember it not like doing much to me, but like I remember if someone else did one of them, they were like looked like they were beating the heck out of a tree or they were like ripping their shirt in half or
I know.
like
Yeah, because like
it
we
did
were
not affect
prescribed
me the
it.
same way, right?
Yeah, because we were prescribed it, so we actually have the ADHD, so we were being medicated
Yeah.
for
They're
something.
actually dopamine deficient, right?
Yeah, which the other people, if they take it and they're not meant to be taking Adderall, like it affects them like they just did a huge hit of coke or something.
Yeah. Well, isn't Adderall like I did a little bit of research on it? Isn't it like little like bits of meth or something?
It's
Like
like it is an amphetamine, so it's in the same class as
I was
methamphetamine.
told it's like
Yeah,
they're very similar. Meth and Adderall are very similar if you compare the
yeah.
two.
As far as like the organization and like the
Yeah.
focus, it's the
There's
same.
controlled doses, I'm sure. I was
Yeah.
told. Like
And
it's
I
like
only did meth knowingly a couple of times.
yeah.
One time, the first time unintentionally, the second time I think it was laced in Molly, so I mean, I didn't really have control of that, but
So
a lot of
the kind of what I mentioned earlier about the like alcohol going hand in hand with the coke, like was that kind of your problem, or was it just straight like you were addicted to cocaine and alcohol, or was it
it
alcohol made
was
you do coke?
alcohol made me want to drink more than Coke made or alcohol made me want to do Coke more than Coke made me want to drink because I just liked to extend my night as long as possible, so Coke just always became a part of it, but that's how it started, and then I would be doing Coke randomly, like, without alcohol during the day sometimes just to, like, focus on something, but I would say I enjoyed it the most when I was drinking, so,
Okay. So it's
yeah.
not like you did. It's not like every time you were doing coke, you were is because you were drinking or something.
Yeah, not every time, like, the cocaine thing progressed to the point where I would use it without drinking, but I would say the most time I enjoyed it was drinking because I felt like I needed
Okay.
it. Made me more
Okay.
social, more out there, just, I don't know, more
Yeah, for
confident,
sure.
I guess.
I have noticed that about like I'm a very observant person and like just when others like I said, I've never done coke, but there's obviously been people around me that have done it, and like I've noticed that once they do it once or twice, it's like every time they drink, they want it.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. I've seen so many people take their first bump, and the next time I see them,
Say they're gonna say it's only one time, right? And then
yeah,
then you see them like 3 or 4 weekends in a row, and they're on the bag every time.
yeah, I've seen it, and it sucks because I've been the person that gave them their first bump, and next thing you know, they can't go
Yeah,
out without it. It's really
that
sad.
I have, dude. I have that same experience with like vaping and stuff. Like I remember being that guy that gave somebody the first hit of the vape or their first beer or first time they hung out with Logan, they were doing this or
Yep.
you know, it was
I
always with me that I was doing as a bad influence. I'm pretty sure. I'm just realizing that now.
I've got a funny story for you that I've never admitted on public air.
Go for it, bro. Go for it.
So, most people at weddings, they have like these things called like wedding favors or whatever they give to their guests or whatever. So, when my ex-wife and I eloped, my idea of what we had just like a bunch of our couples that we knew come to our wedding because it was just like really small, like just with friends and stuff. So, my
Where
idea of
did you guys
giving
get
out
married at? In Idaho?
Nah, just over in the Seattle area. All my friends that all the couples that were involved in a little elopement wedding that we did were all people I knew did blow. So my idea of wedding gifts was giving them all their individual bag of blow. So we're riding around in the
So
stretch
everybody
limo.
at your wedding was doing blow. Your
Everybody
whole
at my
wedding.
wedding, yeah, it's just a cocaine-filled wedding, and that was my idea of wedding gifts. Like, here's $100 bag, here's $100 bag for you guys, and everybody in the limo, stretch limo from bar to bar that night, where we're all just bumping, bumping, bumping. Yeah, so
And obviously, like you knew that it was
yeah,
clean because you were selling it, right? So,
exactly.
but like, so when you sold your coke to like others, like outside of that group of people that were at your wedding, you
Yeah,
obviously would cut it with stuff to make it because I'm
yeah,
pretty sure anybody selling drugs cuts their stuff, whether it's with some
yeah.
people.
I would
Obviously,
use
not trying to lace
lidocaine.
people, but like,
Yeah,
if you don't mind touching a little bit on about that, like, just kind of like, how does that even work? Like, I've heard
yeah,
of cutting things with like obviously fentanyl or stuff like that, but like
yeah.
I'm sure that's not your objective most times. Like it's you have to cut it to make money, don't you?
Yeah, you can, or yeah, I mean, like if you get a good deal on an ounce or whatever, you don't really have to cut it as much. But like, if you get an ounce for $1,000, say, and you break it down to 28 grams and sell it each in a gram for like 60, you're going to make a profit if you sell each individual gram, like,
Yeah,
can't do the math in my head right now. But what I would cut it with was lidocaine. I would order like a bottle of this lidocaine powder, which is the same stuff they use at the dentist to numb your gums. And cocaine numbs your gums, so a lot of people wouldn't notice the additive in there because it feels like
right.
it's numbing. So I would use that to add to it, and I would pretty much cut down like a third of it and add a third of lidocaine to kind of make the batch go a little bit further. So
I see. I see.
yeah,
Well, I don't know why I even thought to ask that. That was just something that popped in my
no,
head.
it's a good
I'm not going to sell
question.
drugs, but
Brings back memories.
I'm a very curious guy. Like I just like Google doesn't tell you that stuff, right? Like if you're
Exactly.
curious, like
Ask the sources.
how would you say that today? Because obviously, a lot of people that, at least in my experience, a lot of people that I've spoke to that have done cocaine and those kind of drugs, they have had experience selling it as well for some reason. Maybe that's just a coincidence that most people I've talked to were dealers as well. Um, I don't know. Is it very common for like somebody like an addict, like a drug addict, to become a dealer because they get to do their supply for free? Like, is that a common thing?
I don't think it's as common as you'd think. I'd say 90%. I hung out with a lot of people that did blow, and I'd say only like maybe 1/10 of them actually like took any part in selling it themselves. Maybe
Yeah.
less than
So
that,
did like
actually.
did you see a lot of people that just could do cocaine regularly,
Yeah, yeah. Like there's
like
like
not addicted to it?
yeah, at this one bar that I'd go to, I would say the same 20, 30 people would just do it on weekends. They call it weekend warriors, is what we called them. And they would just get their bag on like a Friday night, do it over the weekend, and then just live their life throughout the week without drugs and then just do the same thing. And it was always the same people buying it. So,
See, like with me and alcohol, dude, like I never had that. It was never like that's when I kind of got confused. I thought, like in this reel I just posted, I put like, I
that
thought
was a good reel.
I would have told you I was just doing what everybody else was doing, but like that's not true. You know what I mean? Like everybody else stopped on Saturday night. Like when Sunday came, like they started to get ready for school and whatnot, or work or whatever they had to do. And me, like the party kept going till like Wednesday or Thursday when I didn't have any money or beer anymore, or like when I finally got caught or did something stupid, be
Yeah.
drunk for like the whole week straight until I got caught or till something stopped me from getting drunk, you know?
How much, I'm just curious to ask you a question, but how much did your gambling and get incorporated into like your drinking? Did they go hand in hand or did you do that more
No,
when you
I actually I never gambled until I was 2 years sober, or 2 years sober from alcohol. Like I had always known, like I quit drinking at 17, so like I wasn't even old enough to drink anyway. But you could like as a 17-year-old, you can get your hands on anything. Like I see 14-year-olds getting their hands on whatever they want. Like um like I wasn't legally old enough to gamble, but I'm sure I could have figured it out if I really wanted to. But I kind of knew that I knew like before I'd ever gambled, like I knew that, And like, I confidently told myself that like I'm not gonna gamble because if I win, I'm gonna get hooked. Like I knew that, and I had told myself that in my head like before. And then when I got disconnected from meetings or and I stopped like being plugged in, like I stopped talking to like-minded people. I was just surrounding myself with like not stuff that like I'm a bit firm believer in you kind of you start to become who you surround yourself with, right? Like
So true.
I was surrounding myself with the opposite of what I needed in my life, which was sobriety and connection and like-minded people, stuff like that. And everybody that was around me was like getting wasted on like weekdays, gambling, doing drugs, but I didn't even see a problem with it because I'm like, I'm not drinking, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm not drinking.
Do
I'm
you think you were
not
like
doing
an
that thing.
adrenaline junkie and you got that like rush that you used to get from drinking from
Kinda, yeah.
gambling?
From day one, dude, I was sitting in a buddy's basement, and like they were just playing slots on their phone, and it was like harmless, right? I was just thinking to myself, what's $20? Like I was just started to make pretty decent money. I was just getting a new job, and I was like, I didn't have very much money, but I was making good money, so I was like, okay, it's $20. Like in that $20, I'm pretty sure cashed out for like 100, and I was like, okay, I like this, and I was like, just one more, and then I lost, and I was like, just one more, and I lost again, and my buddies are looking at each other, like I could see them giving each other the look, like what's this guy doing? Like why is he not stopping? And I'm like they subconsciously knew now that I talk to them, now that I'm sober, but like I remember calling the one guy and I'm like, "Hey man, I'm in rehab right now. I just wanted to like apologize for like ever like asking you to borrow money or anything like that. I'm really sorry for lying to you." And like I was telling him this kind of stuff. He's like, "Dude, like I kind of knew, but I didn't know. Like I knew something was off, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people aren't stupid, but
No.
like
Put two and two
I
together.
don't know. I just like I said, it was so harmless at the beginning because like I said, I turned $20 into 100, and then there was one day I turned like 100 into like 4,000, and then I'm living lavish for a couple days until I dump it all back into the game because I couldn't stop playing, right?
Yeah.
And
Making
I
like
would never
2,000.
stop until I had. Yeah, dude. Not near the end, I remember in May before I went to rehab, I was doing $2,000 like blackjack hands, $2,000 spins on Street Bonanza, and I
Jesus.
was like doing all this crazy stuff, man. Like I have screen recordings, and like I'll pull it up every now and then and show someone like, hey, like this is how bad it got. Like, do you
Yeah.
see this? That's like
You're gonna have to
10
play
grand
that
in
on
one
one of your
hour, man.
episodes.
Like, yeah, for sure. I'll put up some photos in this episode, actually, screenshots that I have. But
Yeah.
it was just wild, man. I was just telling a buddy the other day, I'd wake up at 2 in the morning, take a pee, and I'd end up spinning slots somehow.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like, it was the first thing I did when I woke up. Like, today, the first thing I do when I wake up is pray. Like, and if I don't pray, I usually realize like seconds after I walk out of my room that, hey, like I didn't pray. Like,
part of your
something's
day.
weird.
It's good.
Yeah, man. For sure. And connection is for sure something that I did not have while I was gambling that I do have today, and for sure keeps me grounded, man. Like,
Spirituality helped you out of the gambling and drinking.
for sure, man. Like,
Awesome.
and like I
I
said, I was just like with alcohol, it was a little different than alcohol. I wasn't as willing to stop gambling as I was drinking because like gambling, like you don't feel any negative impact from it, like
Yeah.
physically, right? Like you don't feel any pain. You feel the guilt and shame and whatnot after you like lie and do everything like that, but you're not honest, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, there's no like physical consequence unless your parents kick you out of the house or you lose your house or stuff like that. Then there's physical consequences. But like other than that, a lot of times there's not, and a lot of times people get bailed out, like or their parents will just pay their debt or like and in reality that doesn't help the situation.
Did
And
you did you ever ask for say at the worst of my coke addiction, I started to ask dealers for fronts, like, hey, can you front an ounce and I'll sell it or whatever and I'll give you the money
I,
back. Did you ever get like that with gambling, asking for loans before you even
dude, 100%. I was asking everybody under the sun for money, man.
Jesus.
Everybody. Yeah, like
And you were
I
just
tried not
gambling
like
right off the bat.
I didn't let it get to like, yeah, dude, there's one time I remember I'm sitting at work and I have my tank's like on, my gas lights on, and I didn't have money for gas, and it was payday too, and I just got paid like $1,300, and I had to text my mom, and I gambled it all away. I had to text her and say, "Hey, mom, like I don't have gas, I need money," and she's like, "Didn't you just get paid?" And I tried to lie and say, "Oh, not this week," like, and she's like, "You get paid every week, Logan. What do you mean?" Like, and I'm like, "Crap, like I'm screwed." I'm like, I just told her like this was she had already known at this point that I was gambling, and like she knew it was bad. This wasn't the first time she had to bail me out, but like I said, I told her, "Oh, I need money." She's like, "It's payday. Where's all your money?" And I'm like, "I gambled it, blah, blah, blah." And like she didn't want to, and like I, she didn't just like bow down and give it to me. Like it was like a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, and like me saying stuff like, "Okay, I guess I'm gonna sleep in the parking lot at work tonight. Like, what else am I gonna do?" Like, and she's my mom, so she's not gonna let that happen. So she's obviously sends me enough money to at least get home or get to the apartment or whatever. And I remember she sent me the money for gas, and I gambled it right away, and I lost it. And I'm like, crap. Like, now what, man? Like, what do I do now? And there's so many times. That was just one of like so many times like that. It was just so unmanageable, dude. That I like. You look at it now, and it's like, what are you doing, man? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
honestly,
Same. If I
but
even
the
had like,
reality of it is, dude, when you turn something as little as like there was a day I had not even enough money for a Big Mac in my account. I was in the negatives, and like they gave me free spins or something, and I turned those free spins, the $7 I won from that free spin, I turned it into like 13 grand or 10 grand or something stupid number in like an hour or two, and then like that's why it was so hard for me to stop because like I knew that like I could turn like $1 into such a big amount if I wanted to because I had turned nothing into that much, right? Like,
yeah. So then you just keep on going and going and
yeah,
going.
you're like, it's so hard to be like, okay, like you still have 8,000, you should stop.
I was up like 8,000 at a blackjack table and I ended up losing everything and then withdrew everything out of my account and lost that. And I was stuck in
Yeah,
Las Vegas, literally.
yeah.
I had to have my
It was like
grandmother bail me out.
for me, it was like there's a cycle of like I'd win a bunch of money, I'd go to the bank, take it all out in cash, so that I couldn't gamble it. Right? I knew myself. I would take
Yeah.
it out in cash, put it in my glove box. No one knew it was there. Like, and I'd keep my glove box locked, whatever. And like, I'd live bougie for a couple of days, eat whatever I want, buy my girlfriend gifts, this, that, whatever, and new clothes, new this. But I never bought a new car for some reason. I still drive a piece of crap car. Anyway, I would live like financially free for a couple of days, and like, and then I would slowly put 100, 200, but 300 back in to keep playing, right? And within 2, 3 days, I was back to nothing every time, back to
Yeah.
zero because I never stopped until I had nothing.
Yeah. And then wait for the next
And I would
paycheck.
go, and then when I would finally have nothing, I would still not be able to stop and start looking for money elsewhere.
Shit.
Like it got that bad, man. It got that bad.
I
And like
believe
it
it.
sucks to say it out loud, especially online, but like that's the truth, and people need to hear it, right? Like,
Yeah, and that's similar to drug addiction. I mean, when I started like, selling clothes or I
yeah,
sold extra set of wheels I had one time and immediately
I
bought like
pawned off a brand new Xbox Series X.
yeah.
Like, there's like 7.99 on the shelf at Walmart right now, and it's like I got 250 for it at a pawn
Yeah.
shop
Yeah,
with like two controllers, all my games, all the new
yeah.
games. Like,
I sold an iPad one time and went straight to my dealer for like
yeah,
third the price that I could have gotten for it.
yeah.
It's
I
amazing what
remember
we do.
selling my acoustic guitar too, dude. That was something I just like I really lost interest when I started gambling because like your dopamine levels get so messed up.
Yeah.
And like you just don't find interest in anything anymore except for gambling. And so I sold my guitar for like super cheap, like just and the money was gone in like 2 minutes. Like,
Like the same repercussions as my cocaine use. It's kind of interesting comparing
yeah,
the two because they're so different, but the
it's
things you
all
did
in it.
to support your
Yeah,
gambling.
like I said, dude, when I started, I said this in a meeting this morning. I said like when I started gambling, or when I stopped gambling, sorry, I realized all the things that I was doing were like the same things I was doing when I was drinking, but they were like way worse.
Yep. Yep.
Like
Yep. Exactly.
Um,
And it
and
hurts
it's
just
kind
as
of like
many
a
people
relapse,
too.
right? It's kind
Yeah.
of like a relapse. Like it's when you go back out, things get way worse. You know, we talk a lot about community here on this podcast, and that's exactly what Drew Dighton's all about. He's a local guy helping people find their dream homes, whether you're ready to move or just curious what your place might be worth. Shoot Drew a text, 519-365-2309, or email drewdighton@gmail.com. He's always down to chat. But yeah, let's get back to the episode, guys. Just
Yep.
because I didn't relapse on alcohol,
Doesn't mean
I
you don't have that
cross
too.
addicted to something else and it just got way worse.
Yep. Yep. I was like that with gambling, but also I trade stocks now. And at first I treated it like gambling and I was throwing all my money into
Yeah.
it. Like, oh, I
I,
believe in
I
this.
often get the urge to try and do stuff like that, investments and stuff, but like right now I'm just like it's too early for me. I'm only 5 months from gambling, like free from
Yeah.
gambling, or I'm getting close to 6, and it's like
Yeah.
still too early for me to like be putting in money and have risking losing it and stuff. Like I don't like that idea yet.
Trying to find the next Dogecoin crypto or some shit and then just waste your
Yeah,
money. Yeah. You never know. I did that, but now I know what I'm doing, thank God, but I didn't at first. So I treated it like a slot machine at first, just hoping
yeah.
for the best.
I see the addict tendencies like in a lot of people, but like they seem to be able to shut it off sometime. Or like at a
Yeah.
certain point they just shut it off. And with me I didn't have that off switch, like, or at
Yeah.
least like as soon as I hit that line where it's like, okay, you should probably stop it. I was going so fast in my head or something that I just blew right past that line, dude. Didn't
Yep.
even see it.
I
And
know.
it was like it was way too late before I realized you should stop. It's like you're already negative $500. Like, what do you mean stop? You have to
Exactly.
stop.
For me with
So
Coke, it was I moved not with the intention of quitting blow, but I moved so I didn't really have all the connections anymore when I moved from Seattle out to Idaho. And I didn't have the connections, I didn't have any sources, so I continued
how long did you
drinking.
live in Seattle for?
Age from birth to 7, then moved to Idaho for 3 years, and then back to Seattle from age 10 to 18, and then college back in Eastern Washington, and then back to Seattle from age 24 to 30-ish, 32-ish. So Seattle, I'd say
Okay.
3/4 of my life, and then
Okay.
been in
So you grew
Idaho
up
the
there
last.
then, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so was there something that brought you to Idaho specifically, or because were you like in active addiction at the time, or when you moved?
When I moved, I was still actively using
Was
blow.
it bad yet though? Like, were you like
Oh, yeah,
daily?
it was the worst in Seattle area, like, as far as my cocaine
Okay.
use, it
So
was
it's not
always
like
bad.
you. It's not like it was like a geographical thing. Like you tried to jump to Idaho to try and get away from the coke, but then it got worse. It wasn't one of those situations.
No, when I moved to Idaho, I've only done coke probably 3 times total in the last 6 years I've been
Okay.
in Idaho. So Idaho was a
Okay.
good change for me because I didn't have the sources. It's not really a big drug out here. In Seattle, if I go back to town, I could find it in 100 different places right away. So I've gone back to Seattle a few times to visit and did it a lot when I was over there, but yeah, no, since I come out here, I just never really had the desire. My drinking got more out of control out here though. So
Yeah, it's kind of scary to think about Chatham, at least. Like when I was even in high school, I had this thought that, like, hey, if I, not that I want to, but like if I even wanted to, it wouldn't be that hard to go find like literally anything, fentanyl, crack, like anything. I could go find it in
yeah,
an hour. Like
same.
it was
Yeah,
not hard to find. Like I get it. The cops can't do much, but like
yeah,
they kind of can, right?
yeah, yeah,
If me, a grade 11 student, can go out and find crack within 1 hour, I feel like the cops gotta like know, right?
yeah. They have to.
There's gotta
It's
be.
that accessible. Yeah, I mean, you can order
So
drugs online now in the black market and the dark web and
yeah,
everything. So
yeah, I don't
I
even
just
know what any of that stuff is.
yeah, and I just got exhausted from cocaine. I just got to the point where I wasn't even having fun on it anymore. So cutting it out of my life wasn't that hard. And then the times I did it when I would go visit gave me more anxiety than it used to. So I just stopped doing it.
That was like alcohol with me. It was like I was skipping all the fun parts. I was just going straight to like blackout, or like straight to like there was like 10, 15 minutes that I remember, and then I'd be like messy drunk, angry,
Yeah, nothing in between.
accidentally like breaking stuff.
Yeah.
I remember waking up one morning. My mom's like, "You're pretty messed up last night." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, I had already walked up the stairs right past it and didn't even notice. And like, she's like, you don't remember? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you punched a hole in the wall. I'm like,
Jesus.
what? And I like, dude, I punched a hole in the wall and I lied. I said I was doing math homework and I deleted it on accident or something.
Yeah.
And like, I got mad or something. And like, no, I don't even remember it at all. Like, I had to make up a lie. Like,
Yeah.
but I remember the hole being like 1 inch from a stud, and like I punched through both sides of the wall, like it was a double sided wall. Punched through one side, like missed the stud by an inch or two, right through the other side, like knocked over like a bunch of paint, full like 2 liter paint cans. Like
Damn.
I like
Does your
I'm
hand
pretty
miss that
sure
or anything?
oh yeah, dude, for like 6 months when I would do this with my hand, like make a fist and unclench it, it sounded like a creaking door.
Jesus.
Like my knuckle was like messed up. It would like seize up. It was weird, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want my parents to know that I like broke my hand or something. You know, like I just tried to play it off.
You don't
But
remember anything triggering you? You just like got into a rage?
nah, I don't really remember much that night to be honest. I remember
Damn.
stealing the alcohol to drink, but that's it. Like there's a lot, and that was like countless times that happened, dude. Where I'd be like, I'd wake up and have to apologize for things and not even remember. So it was like that's why when I kind of made that decision to go to detox, it was like, okay, I'm ready. Like all the things that I, when God spoke to me, like all those things that I had done kind of came to me. And like with gambling, it was harder because like I remember weeks leading up to like it got really bad, and then I was like, okay, I need to go to rehab. Like, and then I signed up for rehab, and it was a wait. But then like I remember in that waiting period from like when I decided to go, and then when I went, I remember like that was the time that I turned those free spins into 10 grand or whatever, or the 11 grand, like in between that period. So like it was hard for me to go because I was like, I'm like slowly paying off my debt here, like
Yeah, making bank.
slowly like I'm winning again and I'm like paying off my credit card and this and that and it's like
Yeah. And it was hard to
I
get it
was
off.
trying to hold on to it, right? And I remember gambling like an hour before I went into rehab, and like the first 3 days of rehab, I had a plan to gamble when I got out, and like
Yeah.
and then things changed so quickly. But
How did you get out of gambling? Like, what was the
well,
besides
I
losing it?
kind of you know I kind of same with alcohol. Like I kind of had to almost lose everything to kind of finally snap out of it and like realize, okay, like what am I doing? Like
Not
I
coming
had to
back
get
from
to
it.
like the last straw. Like my girlfriend had to be like on her way out the door, bags packed, like
Hmm.
for real, like leaving, and like not just saying it because I was always good at sweet talking and like getting her to stay and like getting my crap together for like so long, and then like a month or two would go by, and then I'd kick it all over again and cause hell, right? With gambling when she was ready to go, like she was like moving on. Like I remember she was like going to the bar and talking to guys, and like I was like watching it all happen, and I'm like, okay, like I'm actually losing her. Like she's moving on, and like, and then my parents were like genuinely like at a loss of what to do. Like they couldn't have me living in their house, but like what they didn't want me living on the street. Like because it just wasn't fair. Like, and I don't blame them. Like the things I was doing, all the lying, stealing, stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't want my kid doing that under my roof. Like, so thank God they supported me through it, and I don't give them enough credit. Like for sure, I did not like deserve the support that I was given, and I shouldn't say that. Everybody deserves support, but like, I was very, in a way, I know I didn't deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Fortunate to
was a
have support.
piece of crap kind of to the people that I loved and treated them like garbage. So the fact that like that they supported me through it, like I don't even know how I got to talking about this, but what I was saying was kind of like I was having a hard time seeing or like I was starting to see the benefits of it again when I was like just about to go in. Like I said, like 1 hour before rehab, like I was winning. Like it's like going into rehab on a win, you're like, crap. Like I remember talking to another guy that had just gotten there too, and he's like, yeah, like I'm up like 7 grand right now. Like it's like that doesn't make you want to gamble when you go home, right? Like,
Yeah, really.
but for me, having my girlfriend about to leave, my parents not wanting me to like not know like knowing what to do, like where I'm gonna live, like am I gonna get kicked out, and like starting to have it affect me at work because like I couldn't pay my union dues, or I couldn't pay my bills, like my rent or my car insurance was like, I remember getting a letter in the mail saying like, hey, you missed your car insurance payment, like you have till this day or we're terminating your insurance. And it's like,
Yeah.
I remember it being like 3 days from that date and I still hadn't paid it, and I'm like still gambling, and it's like I
Shit.
had the money to pay it and I'm gambling it, right? And it's like
All you gotta
every
do is
time
pay.
I got a paycheck, instead of paying these people back that I promised, hey, you just bailed me out for rent, like, and I told you I'd pay you back, but sorry, I gambled it all away. Like, there was like countless times that happened, but while I was like about to go into rehab, it was like pretty, I'd say it was pretty positive in that sense. Like, I was up a little bit, I guess. In the big picture, I was down a lot. Like, I was really down a lot. But in the moment, I was up like in the week, probably. Like I was up a couple hundred, and at that point, like you lose sight of the big picture, right? Like you lose sight of the fact you're down 15K or 20K or whatever you owe. When you add it all up, you owe like, I
Mm-hmm.
remember I blew like 6 digits, man. Like, and I wagered like multi millions,
I can
and
only imagine what
in
we lost
less
to the
than a year, dude,
drinking, and
less than a year.
that's crazy. Oh my
And
gosh.
that was only on one website, that those stats that I just told you. That was one website. I was on like every website you could think of. FanDuel, friggin' Betty, BetMGM, all of them, dude. Everything that like
So you're doing like sports betting and all that too?
that was one thing I never did, dude. The only time I ever did a sports bet was if it was like a free bet. Like I never understood how all the numbers and the odds worked, and the negative 200 and plus this, and I
Yeah.
didn't. It was too complicated for me. I'd rather just hit the button and watch $20 turn into 10 grand.
Yeah, exactly. It's more exciting. The amount of houses, down payments we would be able to have if it wasn't for drinking, drugs, gambling.
Yeah,
I wish I
I
could see
I
a
have a hard
spreadsheet.
time with that, man.
Yeah.
Like saying it out loud that I like had 10 grand or 11 grand in my bank account at one point, or in my casino account, and like if I would have been patient, I could have cashed it all out. But like I couldn't get it out of the bank, so that day, that's why I just gambled it. Like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep playing then,
Just treat it
and
like it's not even money.
yeah, so I remember like realizing that you just have like 10 grand plus in your bank or in your account there, and like you're driving a $2,500 car. Like
Yeah.
something's
And you
not
could have
right.
paid back so
Like,
many people and made them happy.
yeah, I could have paid my credit cards completely off, paid off like this vacation that I'm going on. I could have paid off so many things, and I just like 1 hour gone back to the negatives again.
God,
I
that's
was
so such a
devastated, dude. I was devastated,
emotional
man. I was
roller
so
coaster.
angry.
Yeah.
Like, and
Such
like
an
in
emotional
the
change.
moment that you're like doing it, while you're doing it, you're like hitting bet 2 grand again, and you're like, see, you get hit like $100 back, and you're like, I just lost $1,900. You're like sitting there like,
And
oh
you're like, I
gosh,
gotta
I
get it
just gotta
back.
hit spin again. I gotta spin again. It'll come back. Like I'm due. I'm so due.
Oh my gosh, that sucks.
No, and then yeah, no, and then you're like, I
Did
remember
you watch the
realizing
movie The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg? It's pretty darn
I've
hard to
started
watch.
it. My girlfriend and I started it, but I haven't finished it.
Yeah,
There's another
that's
one
hard to watch.
if you like recovery movies. It's not really much about recovery, but it's about gambling addiction. It's called. I'll send it to you. It's called. I'll pop it up on the screen as well. It's called owning Mahoney or something like that.
Okay.
It was filmed in. I think it was put out in like 2003. It's based on an event that happened in like between 1980 and 1983, I think, somewhere around there. The CIBC in Toronto, like one of these big banks in Canada, it was like one of the biggest fraud things that had taken place in history. And basically, this banker, he owed like the bookies a lot of money, like at the racetrack or whatever. So what he did was like he was in charge of all these big bank accounts and like loan accounts and whatnot. And he wrote himself a loan, I think, and I'm pretty sure he put it under someone else's name or something. And he wrote himself like a fake loan or something, went and paid the bookies back. And then to pay back that money that he just like borrowed, he like went and instead of this other guy signing out the money to like transfer it, the cash transfer, he somehow got to sign and like bring the money. And he's like, oh, I'll just bring it. Like if the guy's going to be an hour late, I'll just bring it. and it was like 200 grand or something. And in the 80s, like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I remember him going to the casino and like they showed like this was all like still based on true story and like the numbers were accurate, so they say at least. And I remember him like doing like a deposit of $100,000, and this is like in the 80s, right? And they just give him 100 grand in chips, and he loses it all. Like he gambles till it's all gone, and then he like goes back the next day or something, does it again, and turns it into a bunch of money. Like goes up a lot, and he tells his buddy, he's like, hey, like take this 40 grand or 80 grand or whatever it is and like hold on to it and like don't give it back to me no matter what I say. And then like an hour later, he comes back to him and he's like, give me my money. And he's like, what do you mean? Like you said not to give it to you. And
Yeah.
he's like, you cursed me. You like, you brought bad luck to the table. He's like, give me my money. He's like yelling at him. And he's like, they're like, gives him the money, right? And he goes, blows it all. And then
Jesus.
at one point in the movie, he's up, I think, 9 million, 10 million, and he could have paid back all of that debt, right? Like he only stole 200 grand or 300 grand.
Yeah.
Like he could have paid it all back and been living like a king. And then
Mm-hmm.
he ends up running out of gas. That's how he gets caught
My God.
because he has no money for gas or anything. Like he blew it all that same day. Like one guy was telling him, he's like, guy, like you got him by the balls, like walk
Cash
out
out.
right now, like
Yeah.
go, like you're laughing, man. Like and
Yeah.
the casino guys were like, I swear if he walks away right now, like,
Yeah. We're
and then
fucked.
yeah, and I remember that he blows it all, and it's like no. I
Jesus.
remember watching that in rehab, like being
Scary
like, some
addiction.
people were like triggered, like wanting to gamble, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's like ruining his life. Like,
Yeah.
I felt I was like crying because like what the girlfriend was going through. I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I putting my girlfriend? Like, it's all like clicking in my head. I'm like seeing it, and it's like
I need to
I
watch that.
wasn't doing the things to the same extent, but like you see, like you said, like with me and you like having similarities between my gambling and your cocaine, it's like
Yeah.
I wasn't. It's not the same thing, but we're doing like the same kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Hurting the
Like,
same people. We're still an emotional
yeah,
roller coaster. You want more, even though it's cost you everything. So it's
for
like,
sure,
yeah.
You know, we
dude.
talk a lot about
All
So, do you
ends
have
up.
any
stability here on this
experience with like
podcast, and
gambling,
that's
man?
exactly what Drew Dayton's all
Not
about.
really. I
He's a
mean,
local
beyond
guy
the
helping people
stock
find their
trading and
dream
stuff,
homes,
I used to
whether you're
go
ready
to
to
Vegas
move
quite a
or
bit,
just
and
curious
I
what
had
your
some
place might be worth.
weekends
Shoot
where I
Drew a
did
text,
lose a lot of money, but I wouldn't say it
519
was like a constant addiction
2309
or
or
anything.
email Drew Dayton
Okay,
It was
so
just
at
like
went through
you would
phases
like
where I
gmail.com. So
enjoyed
with
it.
that
you
in the
would
And
chat, yeah,
realize
let's
you
get back to the
lost a
episode,
lot of
guys.
money, and you'd be like, oh, that hurts, and you'd kind of stop and
I'd be
like,
depressed enough to not do it for a while. Yeah.
yeah, no, me if I like lost it all, it's like
Yeah.
crap. I gotta go back the next day and win that all back. Like I gotta
Yeah.
find $20 so I can possibly win that all back.
Oh, yeah. No, cocaine, I was like that, but not with gambling enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
to go
lose
back
enough.
on what we were talking a little bit about, like selling things for our addiction, like that's when I kind of realized how bad it was getting to. Like when I started to like try and sell my computer or like things that I like
That you need.
that weren't even worth selling. Like I would get nothing for it. Like I remember selling a $400 pair of sunglasses for like $40. And like it's like,
Just
man,
horrible.
like come on, that $40 was gone in like 1 second. Like
Exactly. And then there goes the sunglasses. I mean, when I
yeah,
sold that iPad, it was the best iPad at the time. Can't remember. It was like a huge ass iPad, like the biggest one you could get, and I was all proud of it. It was like $1,100, and I think I sold it to some guy on Craigslist for like $350 or something, just because I
yeah,
wanted extra cash.
gone.
Had to pay rent or something.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, man, shout out to my parents, dude. Like I didn't deserve a lot of the support that I was given, or I guess you could say it's unconditional love or whatever you want to call it. But it's like now that I look back, it was like I was not. I don't know if I would have been able to give the same support to somebody if they were treating me that way. You know, like it was
Yeah,
shocking to me how they supported me through that, and like I love them so much for it, man. Like,
good.
and I'm sure you have lots of people in your life that supported you through your addiction. And
Oh
is there
yeah.
anybody that you want to throw out there
Um,
that you?
Definitely shout out to my parents. They live in separate areas, divorced, but they stuck by me through everything. My mother got sober with me, and she's been sober longer than me because I relapsed. But she's in the AA program, goes with me every day, chairs meetings with me once a week. Like she's been amazing. Yeah, my dad and my stepmom, I shout out to them. They're amazing. Peter and Anita, and they'll probably watch this episode. So everybody has been really supportive. So extremely.
Awesome, dude. That's what I like to hear. Big part of recovery is
Having the
support.
right
Like a lot of times, like the things that your loved one or even you are doing in your addiction are not coming from like a place of like. A lot of times they have good intentions, but like for me, like I never wanted to hurt anybody or lie to anybody. Like I just didn't want to get in trouble or like I don't know. I just having that support is like something that I feel like a lot of alcoholics or addicts or whatever like don't get, and that's a big reason why they keep going back out, right? Because they're doing it alone. And I feel like it's a really crucial part in recovery is having that unconditional support. You know what I mean?
Yep,
At least in
exactly.
my case, it was
No,
for
it
sure.
was
I don't
huge
know.
for me. If
I
I
don't
would
know
have
if I
gone
would
into
have been able to do it.
if I would have gone into
Sorry, go ahead.
treatment knowing I had nobody to come back to or nobody that would be there for me, I would have been so much more depressed in treatment. If I was coming out and was completely alone, I probably would have
Yeah,
already been planning my relapse. But just knowing I had people around me that loved me kept me motivated because I'm like, I don't want to hurt these people again.
yeah, for sure, dude. And like I can relate to, or I can't relate personally to that, but like I see what you mean when you say that. There's guys that like some of my roommates or a couple of the guys I was going to rehab with, like they got there and then 2 or 3 days in, like their wife tells them that they want a divorce or
Yeah.
like that their kids don't want to see them anymore, and it's like, what do you mean? Like, would you tell them? Or
I'm getting
you know what I
help
mean?
now.
It's like, yeah, like when they finally like decide to do something about it, then they get to come home to a divorce or this. Like I've seen
Yeah.
that
That's
in a couple
heartbreaking.
different cases. Like, and rest in peace. Like my roommate's not here anymore. He actually committed suicide, but that's what he was going through when he got out. Was I'm sure he was very alone, and you know what I mean. He didn't have like he was coming home to nobody. Like his kids didn't want to see him. His wife was leaving him. Like you know what I mean.
So heartbreaking. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, like, if you do have a loved one that's struggling with addiction, that like you can't give them tough love or that, or I'm not saying you can do whatever. Like you don't have to listen to me. I'm just stating my opinion on what happened in my situation, right? Like
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't want to come across as like I'm telling anybody how it has to be. I'm just saying I think it's very important for addicts or alcoholics or anybody going through something like this to have that support or someone to go to. You know.
Yeah. If you don't directly have it in your life, there are resources out there. There's a huge community of people in recovery ready to be there for you.
For sure, man. For sure. Is there any other stories you kind of wanted to like quick stories? We got a couple more minutes here that you wanted to throw in there.
No, I just felt the last time I actually did cocaine, I felt really, really bad. I bought some cocaine and went to a Seahawks game, an NFL football game, and I was going into the stall and was trying to line up a bump, and I heard the stall door open, and I turn around, and there's a kid and his father, and his father just goes, "Really, man?" And I just felt like the biggest piece of crap ever, and I ended up throwing it in the toilet and flushing it, and I that's the last time I ever touched it because it was enough for me to feel a huge sense of guilt. Like, what am I doing here? A kid saw me. He probably doesn't know what I'm doing, but here I am doing drugs at a game, and I'm like, why do I need it? So that was enough closure
Yeah,
for me to never touch it again.
for sure, dude. For sure. That's thanks for sharing that.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you
I
having me on
can
the show.
for sure, dude. I'm excited for everybody to hear this one, and
Me
I just
too.
want to throw out there for everybody that's listening. I just recently put out some shirts. By the time this episode comes out, I should have them. If you want one, reach out. I'll put a photo of it up here. Or actually, I might not have them by the time this episode comes out, but I'll put a photo in the description when I do get it. And if anybody wants one, reach out. And then in the future, Ryan and I are actually going to collab on a T-shirt or something like that, and we're going to talk about some designs and stuff like that. So,
So yeah, new
yeah, man. I just
generation
want
and
to
rock bottom.
thank you for coming on, dude, and thanks everybody for listening. I should have another. Got a busy week with recording, and I'm sure you do too, man. Things are picking
Mhm.
up for sure.
Yep, love it.
So thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, before we wrap things up, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Drew Dighton with Realty Connect. Whether you're buying, selling, or even just daydreaming about your dream house, or whether you're looking for a studio, anything to do with real estate, hit up Drew. Phone number is 519-365-2309. His email is drewdighton@gmail.com. I'll throw that right above my head here, also in the description below. Yeah, he'll make that transition super easy for you. He's a super down to earth guy. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching.